You're watching the Randy and Christa Show. I'm Randy Alvarez.
And I'm Christa Orecchio, and this is news that makes you healthier.
Okay, today we're going to talk about detox.
Yes.
But before we get into it, we're going to talk about hyperbaric, colonics, some detoxing with food, a lot of different topics. But let's start off with a little bit about kind of what's been going on with you. What have you been doing this week since I last saw you?
Okay.
To get healthier. Anything new?
Well, I'm always doing things to get healthier, but you just mentioned hyperbaric. So I just tried a hyperbaric chamber for the first time.
Okay, I saw that posted on Facebook.
And I posted on Facebook
and Instagram. It wasn't even a very
Instagram.
flattering photo, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
so good for you.
Well, I'm just trying to show my real life. I was literally in my pajamas testing out a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was great.
Did you feel better because of it?
I felt better. It turns off the stress response almost instantly. I felt calm yet energetic. And
how long did you stay in there?
An hour and 15 minutes.
Isn't that right? So why did you do it? Did you pay for it? Somebody gave it to you?
No, I found a Groupon for it, and
okay.
It's I never recommend anything to clients that I haven't tried myself, and that is something that I've never tried. And I had a friend who tore his Achilles heel,
right.
and he bought a hyperbaric chamber, and he healed in about half the time. So a lot of people, it helps you heal faster because it helps with cellular respiration. You get rid of metabolic waste, turns off the stress response, and the body's own healing process can ensue. So I thought it was really cool. I slept better that night.
You told me you want to get
energy.
one. I mean, you want to get one, right?
I want to get one. I would love to have one.
If you had one, like what's the word on the street as far as people that own these? How do they do it every day? Every once in a while? Is it safe to do every day?
I don't know if it's safe to do every day. I would probably do it 3 times a week, and you don't do it before or after you fly because of the pressure change.
Okay.
But I mean, it's really a great
thing. It's a
thing.
little scary in there a little bit sometimes.
This one wasn't so scary because it was one of the really big ones where you could sit up in there. I had my phone in there with me. I was working.
Really?
So it wasn't this coffin-like.
So you were working inside that. Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Aren't you supposed to be relaxing?
Yes, you are. I didn't really have the luxury of relaxing.
When you were in there?
No, I can't call you because you have an oxygen mask on.
I
just text with you. Yeah.
You didn't text me. You should have texted me and told me you were on there. Okay, so we're talking about what
What did you do this week to get healthier?
I was talked into going in and finally seeing a nutritionist.
Oh.
By the way. So I went to your office. Great place at the whole journey.
Okay.
And we added carbs back in my life. A little bit more carbs. I've been afraid of brown rice, organic brown rice, and I've been afraid of sweet potatoes. And put it back in my diet. I'm feeling better. My mind is there. It's better. And insulin, you need that insulin to rebuild. So, and I'm sleeping better.
You're slowing the release of glucose in your system.
And we did it to lower my stress because I told you I have a tough time sleeping.
Right.
And this is a big topic, but the big takeaway was starting the morning off with a lemon water.
Yes.
Now you've got the best speech because I posted it on Facebook, right? I got about 80 different likes, and people are saying, "What about lemon water?" Because I used to do it years ago, stopped doing it, alkalinizing. But I said, "You've got to get." I didn't want to tell people what it does because I said, "Krista's got the best speech."
Yeah, every single client, that's the beginning of their homework. And our friends at home, you guys watching this, we want you to take away 1 to 5 things from every show that you take into your life. That's news that makes you healthier. You're not just watching, you're going to actually have action. So everybody should start their day with 16 ounces of room temperature water with the juice of half a lemon. You did more than that, I think. In those pictures you posted, it looked like more.
No, it wasn't half a lemon, it was a full lemon.
Okay, good for you. Okay, 8 ounces.
By the way, I want to let you talk and finish here. So I promise I'm going to let her finish the story. But why not a whole lemon?
Well, you can absolutely do a whole lemon. Sometimes it's just a little sour for people. But yeah, if you can stand it, a whole lemon or a whole lime is fine. Okay, here's the thing. We're talking about detox today, and not the type of fasting, hardcore detox, but working detox and building the body in as part of your daily life and daily habit as just a way to maintain vibrant health.
All right.
So 16 ounces room temperature water with the juice of half a lemon when you wake up in the morning. 8 ounces flushes the digestive system. 16 ounces will touch every single organ and let your body know, hey, we're awake, metabolism can begin. Now,
rather than having your coffee first.
110%, if you're a coffee drinker, you must do this before because you put an alkaline base in the body before you dump the acid in. So here's the thing. If you're sleeping well, the first 4 hours of sleep, your body's pulling acid out of the joints, puts it in a holding tank back behind the heart. So if you, I don't know why you think that's
I'm
funny,
only laughing
you're doing it.
I'm wondering how you know some of this stuff.
Okay.
But,
Well, I've been doing this for 8 years.
Well, I've been interviewing medical doctors and integrative medical doctors, but most of this stuff I'm hearing is the first time. It's fascinating.
I'm glad. Keeps it interesting for you.
And I find it hard to believe a little bit of it too.
Okay, but you're doing it, so that's all that matters, and it's working.
No, I know the lemon water, I believe.
Okay, let me finish this.
So I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, so then it puts it in a holding tank back behind the heart. Here you are, you have the body, the acid that your body's collected, and then you take the juice of half a lemon, it washes excess acid from the stomach through the large intestine. When you go to the bathroom and you have a bowel movement, you get out so much more acid.
Nice.
So such a simple thing is lemon water. And if it's warm lemon water, that's even better because you also flush your lymphatic system. So it's an extra immune
Okay, if the warm
strengthening.
is so much better, how come you left that part out with me when I was in front of you at the whole journey? You didn't tell me warm.
I don't know.
But then everybody's telling me, what about warm? What about warm, Randy? And I said, I know that Chinese, they believe in, because your body's 98 degrees, give it warm water, less things to worry about as far as. So why didn't you tell me? Is my question.
Well, I don't
Was
know,
I not
Randy.
ready for it or
I think
something?
that we're all scattered. We were all over the place that day, and
That's true.
maybe I knew you were going to drink your coffee right after, and you didn't want to have 2 hot liquids. Who knows?
Yeah.
I can't answer that. But yes, when you wake up, your temperature's a little low, right? Because you've been sleeping all night. So having something warm will raise the core temperature. Even better for your thyroid and metabolism to raise the core temperature as soon as you wake up.
It did make me feel better, by the way, and you got me off coffee.
I'm so proud of you on that. You want to admit that you were drinking a pot of coffee?
No, I was drinking, like a pot of coffee and just a little one in the house, and then the 8-cup mark. Because to me, I feel like, because I have big giant cups.
Yeah.
And so I do my emails, and I like to enjoy the whole experience.
Okay.
And so I've tapered off completely. Mm-hmm. I did 1 cup, no cup. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm just going to kick it completely.
That would be amazing.
Caffeine is not good. It raises stress hormones, makes you hold on to fat. Mm-hmm. Tell me why coffee's bad in the morning.
Excess
and why it's not
acid.
Good for
You should
detox.
have naturally high cortisol levels in the morning, your stress hormone. But what we do is we drink coffee, we kind of kick the adrenals, and then that high cortisol bathes your cells.
Okay.
Bathes your cells in cortisol. So no matter what you eat, the insulin can't get in. So when that coffee wears off, everyone feels starving, or they need either another coffee, sugar, a muffin, because your cells are screaming for insulin. They think they're starving when that's not the case. Okay. So I said to you, if you're going to drink coffee in the morning, make sure you have it with breakfast. Make sure you have it with food, never alone.
So we have lemon water. We should do a working definition. When we're talking about detox, most of us think is detox as detoxing off alcohol or drugs.
That's
Today,
what the mainstream thinks. No,
detoxing off foods that are potentially harmful. And also things that you could do to your body or take that can help the detox process. Flush some of these bad things out of your system. Is that right?
On a daily basis. Just thinking, you eat for nourishment and you also eat to cleanse life's toxins, environmental toxins, food-based toxins.
So lemon water and then regular water. You brought this water in today.
Yeah, I'm checking out this new alkaline water. It's called Alkaline. By the way, I know you're getting ready to make fun of me for drinking out of plastic water bottles.
I already did, yeah.
This is compostable and BPA free. But so this is a new alkaline water. Alkalizing the system is a wonderful way to flush out toxins, and it's oxygenated with bioavailable oxygen. So the same reason you go in the hyperbaric chamber is to get more oxygen. So it's cool if you can get that through your water.
So you like this water? Okay, so quality of water is big. I know you're big into.
Yes.
It's. We should mention it's your birthday today.
Oh yeah,
right?
Thank you.
As the day of the taping of the show, and somebody told me you should give Christa a gift. It should go over to the Carlsbad, spring, get her some of that natural spring water.
Some of the, no, you gave me, it was even better what you gave me.
That's right.
A bottle of champagne that I can't wait to try.
It is good.
Thank you for that.
It's pretty good. Okay, so, and that's not great for detox, but every once in a while, right?
No, I think it's an 80-20 balance. You got to live a balanced life.
All right. Okay, so the water. You like this water?
I like this water, yeah. I'm
so
testing
clean
it
water,
out.
very important. How many glasses a day?
It's not as much glasses. It's a liter of water, which is about 34 ounces for every 50 pounds of body weight. So let's see, 2 of these is a liter,
So like 64 for you, about.
Yeah. I'm about 110 pounds, so I should be drinking a little over 2 liters
You look
a day.
a lot heavier than that. You don't. I'm only saying that because one day we're out to lunch.
I know. You're bringing this up on camera.
And you guessed my age at like 10 years older than I really am.
Not 10 years, 6 years. And that was only because your kids are a little older. And
that's not true. Well, first of all, you never guess somebody's age without like figuring I'm going to go lower about 5 years just in case.
I know. I didn't factor in that much. I'm never going to live that down.
Yeah, and then one of the listen to this. And then one of the employees, she just 2 weeks prior to that, tries to set me up with somebody that's 15 years older than I am. And so I'm just going, go. You know, maybe I've got this false perception of myself. Okay, back to detox. We got to keep you focused.
You look 36.
Back to detox.
Yes.
Okay, so detoxing. You did a segment. That's what came up with this. I saw you on Fox News.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
And you brought in a bunch of things. These are at-home ways to detox. You want to start there?
Yeah, let's talk about a couple of different things. These are easy, very inexpensive ways that you can cleanse on a daily basis.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a dry skin brush here. This is a very cool thing. I hang it on the outside of the shower and it improves circulation. So a couple times a week or every day if you want to, you dry skin brush, upward strokes towards the heart.
Toward the heart.
You're laughing at me. Have you ever done this?
Yes, I do it all the time. I've been doing it for years.
Okay, why do you think this is funny?
I even forgot why I was doing it. No, I thought it was funny because the thing I wasn't doing was toward the heart. You know, when I think some of the things you say are silly sometimes, meaning silly just because I haven't heard about it before.
Yeah.
And I think, of course, this morning I did it. And I was going up toward the heart.
Yeah. Well, the thing is because you want to help move. So your immune system is your lymphatic system. Okay. We have lymph nodes, the major ones we hear about, right? But we have them all over our body. So you want to move the lymphatic system and flush it, and then it ends up flushing behind the heart into the digestive system, and that's how you get rid of lymphatic poisons.
Okay, good.
So that's why upward strokes towards the heart. And we've got to exercise.
I think it makes your skin softer too. A little bit.
Oh, sure. It's kind of like an exfoliation.
Yeah.
But we have to exercise to move our lymphatic system around because the heart pumps blood throughout the body, but we don't have anything that pumps the lymph fluid. So dry skin brushing.
3 times a week.
Yeah, whenever you remember, 3 times a week.
Can I throw this in just for a second? I always worry that maybe it's going to cause your body to thicken the skin because like a calloused skin.
No.
Does that ever cross your mind, or is that just my... I mean, no dermatologist has ever told me this. I'm just
why would
thinking
it do that?
Your body
it actually
normally
makes it softer because you're exfoliating dead skin cells.
It just crossed my mind.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. Okay. Do you use one of these?
No, and I have specific reasons, but keep going.
Oh, I want to hear them.
No, I have an opinion about it.
Okay, this is a tongue scraper. I can't live without this. If I forget this on a trip, I don't have the greatest trip.
Okay.
Okay, most people brush their tongue, but there's only so many ways to detox through the skin, through the bowels, or through deep breathing. And when you have toxins, they come up. Exactly, through the skin, through sweating, through the skin.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying
Sorry about that.
And so you have to brush your tongue because stuff comes up. And when we are congested, the liver's congested, something's congested, the tongue gets a white coating on it. So tongue scraping.
Do you do that every day?
Twice a day. Every time I brush my teeth, tongue scraping. Yes, and your taste buds become more sensitive. You can taste sweet and salty better, and just better breath.
Well, here's my thought on that, by the way, because I've interviewed hundreds of dentists.
I know.
A lot of these integrative medicine docs, and I have my own opinion about this, but now I do that about once every other week or so. But hydrogen peroxide, have you ever tried this?
No.
Okay, it definitely, they use it in wound setters, kills the bacteria, the periodontal bacteria in your mouth.
Like a mouthwash? Do you swish with it?
That's correct. Now, there are some people that even use it in colonics. Some people drink. So it's actually safe, hydrogen peroxide. But when you drink it, it'll turn, at the beginning, your tongue will turn dark. Okay? Now mine, if I do it, it's perfectly clear because I've been doing it for so long. And so...
Let me see your tongue. Okay.
So, no, but I mean, you'd have to know if you put the hydrogen peroxide in your mouth, it'll turn dark. I'm saying if you try it and you haven't done it, and you'll see after about a week.
Because that's the bacteria coming out.
Exactly. And they do it under a microscope, by the way. And so they did a comparison, hydrogen peroxide, gargle, and the tongue scrape gargle. Now remember, this is under a microscope. And the hydrogen peroxide killed 90%. It was actually after a 5-minute study, holding it in there for 5 minutes, than the tongue scraper.
I'm totally going to try that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And the other thing is I've got that thickness theory that I think I'm the only one with it. That when you scrape your tongue, you thicken the tongue. It's just my theory.
What is it with you and the thickness?
Because, look, the body does this.
Okay.
It's like if you rub something long enough,
you're going to create a callus?
Dermatologists will say don't scrape your skin because it thickens the skin. So my theory is based on that. But anyway, so back to that. Try hydrogen peroxide.
I'll try hydrogen peroxide because I think that's awesome. That's that's the Western segue into oil pulling, which does the same thing, which comes from the East.
This I've got to hear because I know nothing about
I just talked about this morning on Fox 5 that had Brad Wills, the anchor, oil pulling, swishing. So the same concept. Now, when we have to tell our friends, why do you want to get rid of bacteria in the mouth, right? I mean, if you have bacteria in your mouth, that's going directly into the heart, into the bloodstream. So by cleaning up the mouth, especially if you've ever had a root canal or any type of major dental work, if you have gingivitis, right? Cleaning up the mouth is really important. So you can do hydrogen peroxide. Or you can do this Ayurvedic concept of oil pulling. Ayurveda is the Indian medical system, if you will. So here I have sesame oil and coconut oil.
So you gargle with, let me grab this. Okay, so you gargle. I'm not going to do it.
Are you going to do it?
No.
Okay.
You gargle with this.
You don't necessarily gargle because you're not going to do a swishing, but you have to pull it through the teeth. So the idea is using sesame oil. You wouldn't drink that whole thing. You drink about 1.5 tablespoons. Okay. And at first, your gag reflex.
Wait, you're drinking it or you're?
Well, you don't. You take it in.
Okay.
You take in 1.5 tablespoons and you pull it through the teeth and through the gums.
Like swishing it.
But not swishing. It's like a sucking action.
Okay.
If you swish, it's not going to get rid of bacteria. But if you pull it, like you're pulling the oil through the teeth, it's pulling out all trapped bacteria under the gums and all throughout the mouth. 10 minutes, if you do it right. This is sesame oil. If you use sesame oil and you spit it out, just like you said with the peroxide, it turns into a thick, white, milky substance full of bacteria. So the idea is not only does it get rid of bacteria in the mouth the same way peroxide does, but it pulls bacteria also out of the bloodstream and removes that burden so that the body's own curative process can start to work. So it's so holistic, so healing.
Interesting. How often do you do that?
Safe, easy, cheap. I would suggest do it once or twice a year for 1 month. So at night. 10 minutes at night before you go to sleep for 1 month. But you can't just do it once and then do it again the next week. You have to commit to it for at least 2 weeks to a month if you really want to get the benefits.
Okay, so you brought this colonic bucket, or is that an enema bucket? What is that?
This is an enema bucket. Okay, nobody likes to talk about poop, but we got to talk about it because it's really important. Detoxing through the bowels is the first channel of elimination, and we talked about metals and things like that. You never want to cleanse the other parts of the body unless you've cleansed the bowels first.
Okay, but a colonic and an enema, these are two different things apparently.
You go to a center to get a colonic, and it's an irrigation of the colon where they put a tube up there.
You've had one?
Yeah, of course. Oh, I have my clients have them. I told you I don't recommend
I'm your
anything
client?
I haven't.
You never asked me to
you just had one session. We're just getting started.
I don't think I'm going to have one anytime soon, but keep going.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So it's an irrigation of the colon. When you have a bowel movement, you're eliminating just the end, just the sigmoid colon. But a colonic gives warm water, fill and release,
Deeper.
So it gets the transverse colon, it gets the ascending colon, and it gets all those tiny folds that there might be old stuff stuck in there from decades
Back
ago.
in the days when you were eating poorly or badly.
Sure,
possibly.
Which most people...
Because a healthy person shouldn't have to do this.
But what's happened to our food supply right now? We're eating GMOs, we're having pasteurized dairy, which gets stuck in there like mucoid
But here's my question.
plaque.
If you're already healthy, let's say with you, you've been off that stuff for years. Once you get that stuff out, you shouldn't have to do it a lot.
No, you shouldn't have to do it a lot. Good. Maybe like a couple times a year.
That was my question.
If that, when I have people trying to get rid of candida, yeast, mold, something like that, I'll have them do a colonic, and then could be for another topic, but then they implant probiotics directly, so they go directly where they need to go.
Wow.
Sometimes they do wheatgrass. In some of the centers, people go to heal from cancer, especially colon cancer. They'll insert wheatgrass so it can soak and heal the lining of the intestine. Or coffee. You heard of that?
Yes.
Okay, so coffee, enemas, or colonics, the idea is, I don't want you drinking it, but when you put it in, as soon as coffee hits the liver, it forces the liver to do a hiccup and gives it a huge release of bile.
Good. Interesting.
Yeah, so you can do coffee enemas.
Okay. Now the at-home, is this an at-home?
This is an at-home enema bucket that you would do. You fill it up. I've had clients doing coffee enemas. I had one guy do 1 coffee enema a week for a year. He wouldn't do anything else. He thought it was crazy, understandably so, and he lost 65 pounds. Because if you can strengthen the liver, you strengthen the blood, the circulatory system, balance the hormones, cut inflammation. So yeah, you would fill it up.
Have you noticed though that the people, because look, I've never had one, Okay. But the people that I've met that do them, it's like get almost addicted to them. They feel so good afterwards.
Yeah, but that's a reliance. So you can't have a reliance on anything. You need to cleanse, heal the lining of the intestine, and too much of a good thing. So it can be dehydrating.
How often do you get these things at home?
A
couple times a year, you do?
Yeah, maybe a few times. If I'm doing a particular cleanse a few times a year, maybe now like three times a year, not a lot.
Okay. All right.
Soon you'll be doing it 3 times a year.
I doubt it. Hopefully not.
All right, let's move on to food.
Yes, food. Yeah. Now, we talked about, when people think of detox, they think of drugs and alcohol. And for for a working definition today, we're talking about detoxing your body of things that are interfering with your metabolism, your energy.
Yeah.
They give you an immune response. So, and we're short on time here, but the first thing we agree on this, that a nice 21-day detox of gluten or bread would be great.
Yes. What else?
And then dairy. And then known allergens like peanuts. Mm-hmm. Some people would say eggs. Go ahead. You're holding your hand up.
What am I missing? Sugar.
And sugar. That's
alcohol. Right. Caffeine.
Okay. And that's a 21-day.
People think there's nothing left, right?
There's nothing left. What do I eat? We hear that all the time, right? I hear that all the time. Yeah, how could you live like that? People tell me sometimes.
Right, but there are so many other things to eat, and that's where you just have to show people this whole other world that's out there, that's delicious, that's easy, that's fun, and then you can feel better than you ever imagined. You're just living life at this whole different level.
Okay,
you're already noticing it.
No, I feel good. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've tried to eat clean for many years, and I told you that every once in a while, about every 3 months, like you get an enema every 3 months or whatever.
You have Twinkies.
I go off the deep end about every 3 months, pizza or whatever.
Okay.
In fact, I was drinking lemon water, and somebody says, I hope you're not doing this because you think by drinking lemon water, because Christa Orecchio told you to, that this is secretly going to make her like slowly start to like you or something. I said, no, that's not it.
Who said that?
This is a friend of mine.
Oh, funny.
Gary Takis, as a matter of fact, told me this. Because I hope this isn't some sick way to get Christa to like you. I said, no, that's not what this is.
I just need to be proud of my co-host, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. You're moving
I'm drinking
forward.
lemon water because I think it's a good idea. And I used to do it in the old days. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing we should talk about, which is tapering off toxic chemicals, is a first way, like aspartame.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. And just yesterday, and I just posted this on the Whole Journey Facebook page, ABC came out. Okay, this really lit me up. That Diet Coke. Yeah, how could it not?
You're at home, I'm like, when you hear about this, you get excited?
Yeah, it gets me fired up because so many people are suffering needlessly. Anyway, so aspartame, we agree it's toxic.
Okay.
It's a neurotoxin. It excites the brain chemical glutamate.
It gives mice cancer.
It gives mice cancer. It excites your excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, an excitatory neurotransmitter, high enough to the point of cell death. So it kills brain cells. It makes us gain weight. It gives us headaches. It is terrible.
And it
should never be made for human consumption. Yeah. So Diet Coke, people are catching on now that this stuff isn't so great for you. Diet Coke sales are lagging. This is in the news report. And so now they're coming out with a new marketing campaign talking about the safety of aspartame. And hey, it's not that bad. And if you cut calories, you'll lose weight. And they're part of the obesity, healing the obesity epidemic with these, artificial sweeteners, which is a bunch of BS. However, it's inspiring to me because we're going to create a tipping point of consumer rejection. Obviously, enough people know that they shouldn't be drinking this stuff. So these companies, Coke and Pepsi, are considering switching the aspartame, the saccharin, for something natural like stevia.
And I told you
that would make me so happy I would do a backflip.
The problem is it doesn't taste the same. And I think that their demographic is really not an educated consumer, because if you're drinking Coke, regular Coke, or Diet Coke, maybe they're just preying on these kind of people, the people that don't know any better.
I think the switch would happen. If
I think
we get
eventually
enough
it'll definitely be in there. Yeah.
Scraping their tongue, then they'll start to change and they'll develop a taste. There's a soda called Zevia. Have you ever had it?
Yes.
So that's what I use to upgrade my Diet Coke drinkers. I say, okay, I want you to use Zevia. It's a stevia sweetened soda. Then they don't feel deprived, but I'm slowly cleansing them of this neurotoxin. Okay. And pretty soon they're off of it. And then a month later, they'll have a Diet Coke and it tastes like poison to them.
Well, the other thing is that in Diet Cokes, you got the caffeine, which raises cortisol, which is another fat-storing hormone, stress hormone, but it has the caramel coloring.
Yeah.
That also has an immune response. So these are all things that interfere with your metabolism or interfere with your ability to fight off a cancer or to fight off something else, because your body has to deal with these chemicals, right?
I mean, how much can we expect our body to handle?
Okay, so we're gonna have to move on for the sake of time. We talked about colonics.
I want you to tell me about infrared saunas because I'm a big fan of them and I get a lot of questions and I use them myself, but I don't know a ton about them. And so that's another thing that people can go spend 20 minutes in an infrared sauna to cleanse, right?
Yeah, I love infrared sauna.
Okay.
Big on infrared. I'm watching Dr. Oz, and Dr. Oz is on there, and they said that they did a study at a major university, I forget what it is, that you could burn 1,200 calories in 30 minutes by sitting in an infrared sauna.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's other studies that say about 800. And they used these infrared saunas on these people that were injured, back injury, broken leg, things like that. And they were able to maintain or even lose weight. So
and
that's what got me excited.
And it's also because they're warming up the muscles. It helps.
They're speeding up. Well, the body, because you're heating it up. This is the theory. They don't really know why. But the theory is because you're heating the body up from the inside, 120 degrees, 130 degrees, your body has to cool it to that 98. So you're increasing your metabolism that way. But there's only one on the market. Sunlighten brand is the one that they were talking about on the Dr. Oz show. Mark Hyman uses Sunlighten. He has one. Oprah just got one. Have? I have a Sunlighten.
Okay.
And they're anywhere from the lay down one is about $2,000 up to about $8,000. I have the $8,000 one. And one of the things the studies showed with NASA that it was great for wound healing. Also, they know that a dermatology study that it also is good for the skin, that they showed got rid of blemishes and things like that, tightened up pores. So this company, Sunlighten, they took those studies, the clinical studies, and they made their heaters, these ceramic heaters, based on those studies. Now, very important note here, if you're going to get an infrared sauna, it's not, there's some out there that say they're infrared, they're these bags, but that's still, you're just heating the outside of you.
Which would be just like your sauna.
Because you have to be in front of these heaters.
Okay, so now a lot of people aren't going to go out and buy an $8,000 infrared sauna, but there are places I send clients to for $20 you can go and you can sit in it for 30 minutes. And so you're saying that you want to ask them, what type of infrared sauna do you have? Do you have a Sunlighten or, I mean...
I would only go Sunlighten. And by the way, they're the leader. I mean, they're all over the place. If you visit sunlighten.com, just about every one is a Sunlighten. You probably don't even realize that. But this is the other part. They measured sweat from infrared. They measured this. And I have all these studies here from the University of Missouri. And it turned out that the sweat had over 80 different known carcinogens or known toxins in the sweat of infrared. And then the sweat from exercise had 50% less toxins in that sweat.
That
it's
makes
a different kind of a sweat.
Because you're sweating out like toxins throughout the blood and throughout the lymph versus deep within the organs and cells.
Yes, and they also know that when they do cadaver studies and autopsies, that the chemicals, aspartame, they store in the fat cells. And they're finding that in these far infrared saunas, that you're hitting the fat cells and releasing. I got to tell you something. Most guys, computer these days, I have fat on my back. My fat on my back, because I'm right in front of this thing, has shriveled to nothing. I almost feel like I had a bunch of toxins stored there, and it's released them.
And you feel so much better. Okay, that is, I'm going to do more infrared thanks to you. Maybe we do infrared then hyperbaric. But what you just said, Randy, is perfect for natural, holistic weight loss. Is most of these bad toxins are stored inside the fat cells. And the body is so amazing. It does that to keep us safe. And so you want to do these detox things that open up the cell, release fat stored toxins, and then they shrink. That's the real way to lose weight and keep it off.
Hey, humans aren't sweating, by the way. I mean, a couple hundred years ago, we were all sweating. Now we're not sweating.
We're not
Less
sweating
activity.
enough. I know. We have to.
And that's a major part of elimination is sweat. But start with food. It really has to do with food.
So wrapping this up, you want to start with food. You want to get your water in, good quality, lemons. You want to have enough greens, 2 servings of leafy greens every single day. Really watch your gluten and sugar and caffeine intake. You don't have to cut it out, but start to minimize it, and you'll notice you feel a lot better.
Okay.
Then you can pull in some of these things. We didn't talk about detox baths, but a little bit of bentonite clay, apple cider vinegar, and sea salt will in the bathtub will draw toxins out of the skin. These are all very inexpensive
Your blog,
ways.
By the way, if you go to her Facebook blog, which is Christa Orecchio with 2 C's, it's tough to spell sometimes.
It is. No, it's The Whole Journey on Facebook
Google
or thewholejourney.com.
All right, Christa, we're out of time. Final message?
Final message, start to think about your health on a daily basis. You want to eat and live for cleansing and for building the body, and just do one thing every single day that supports your health. So thank you for watching News That Makes You Healthier, and we'll see you next time.